All right, if you're gearing up for your community medicine exams, you already know that national health programs are a huge high yield topic. But today, we're going to go deeper than just names and dates. We are going to dissect a program that totally reshaped the most critical 24 hours in a mother and newborn's life, LaQshya. Let's dive in.
So to really get why LaQshya even exists, you've got to start with this one number. Think about this. Even as more and more women were having babies in hospitals, a shocking 46% of maternal deaths were still happening on a single day, the day of delivery. It's just staggering.
So that leads to a huge public health question, right? We're getting people into facilities, but why was that specific 24-hour window still so incredibly risky? This is the exact problem that the government of India created the LaQshya initiative to fix. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with the crisis itself, then we'll properly introduce LaQshya. We're going to unpack its core goals, look at the blueprint for how it actually works, follow its 18-month roadmap, and, this is the really clever part, see how it uses certification and incentives to make sure quality actually improves.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem. Now let's get to the solution. How exactly did the government decide to tackle this crisis that was happening inside the four walls of the labor room? Let's meet LaQshya. The answer came in 2017. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare launched LaQshya. And, this wasn't just another broad strokes health policy. No, this was a super targeted multi-part strategy aimed squarely at improving the quality of care right when it matters most, during labor and delivery.
And the name itself, LaQshya, well, it means target or goal, which is just perfect, isn't it? Because this program is laser-focused. It's not trying to fix all of maternal health at once. It's targeting the labor room and the maternity OT during those absolutely critical hours for mom and baby. So what was the mission here? What was this initiative really trying to achieve, and how did it plan on getting there? Let's break down its core goals and strategies. Now, these four objectives, absolutely vital for your exams. But take a closer look. The real genius here is that LaQshya goes way beyond just the clinical stuff, like reducing mortality. It specifically calls out enhancing patient satisfaction and ensuring something called respectful maternity care, or RMC. This was a huge shift towards a much more holistic idea of what quality really means. And I want to zero in on RMC for a second, because it's really the heart and soul of the LaQshya philosophy. It's this idea that safe childbirth isn't enough. It's about a woman's right to dignity, her right to privacy, and a birth experience that's free from any kind of abuse or disrespect. And this table, it just lays it out so clearly what RMC actually looks like on the ground. It's about real, tangible actions. The do's, like allowing a birth companion, letting a woman choose her own birth position, and putting that baby on her abdomen right away. And the don'ts are just as critical. Absolutely no verbal abuse, no unnecessary procedures, and no separating mom and baby. Okay, so we've got the what and the why. But, an ambitious program is just a dream without a solid plan. So let's get into the how, the actual framework that makes LaQshya work on the ground.
The whole thing is set up like a cascade of support and, accountability. You've got a national mentoring group at the top, setting the big picture. That flows down to state mentoring groups. Then, at the district level, you have coaching teams giving that direct, hands-on support. And finally, where the magic really happens, at the facility, you have quality circles. These are small teams of staff right there in the labor room, driving change every single day. And right from the get-go, the program was super strategic. Instead of trying to do everything everywhere all at once, it decided to focus its resources where they would have the biggest impact, the facilities with the highest number of patients. So we're talking about all the government medical colleges and district hospitals, for sure, but also the designated first referral units and those community health centers that see a really high volume of deliveries. It just makes sense, right? Go where you can help the most people first. All right, so how does this all actually play out over time? Well, LaQshya is built on a really specific, time-bound roadmap with clear targets and different phases. Here's the big picture. It's an 18-month rollout. It kicks off with 2 months of prep work, followed by 2 months of assessment to see where things stand. Then you have the real engine room, a full year, 12 months, for the improvement phase. And it all wraps up with a 2-month evaluation to see how it all went. But that big 12-month improvement chunk? It's not just a free-for-all. It's meticulously organized into 6 2-month rapid improvement cycles. Each cycle zooms in on a specific theme. And here they are. Seriously, this is another slide you'll want to remember for your exams. You can see how smart the progression is. It starts with basic tools like partographs and checklists. Then it moves to the patient experience with RMC. Then it dives into the hardcore clinical stuff, handling complications, managing labor, newborn care, and finally, infection control. Each one builds on the last.
You know, having a great plan is one thing, but making it stick? That's the real challenge. And that's where the final piece of the LaQshya puzzle comes in. Its brilliant system of certification and incentives to keep everyone motivated and maintain those high standards.
Now, what's really important here is that these incentives aren't just handed out. Nope. Facilities have to earn them by meeting 3 tough criteria. First, they have to get their NQAS certification. That's the National Quality Assurance Standards. Second, they have to hit at least 75% of their own specific targets. And third, and I love this, they have to get a high score on patient satisfaction surveys. It proves that good care is also kind care.
And we're not talking about small change here. The financial incentive is huge. Top-performing teams at the big hospitals can earn up to 6 lakh rupees for their department. And that money can be used for things like staff bonuses and making more improvements, which creates this amazing positive feedback loop. But it's not just about the money. The program also uses this clever branding system with platinum, gold, and silver badges based on a facility's quality score. It creates a sense of pride for the staff, and it gives the community a really clear visual sign of quality care. So in the end, everything we've talked about, the mentoring, the cycles, the money, the badges, it all circles back to this one powerful idea: to make the day of birth a safe and, just as importantly, a dignified experience for every single mother and every single child. You know, the success of LaQshya really gives us a blueprint for how to make real change happen. It proves that if you have a targeted, well-structured, and properly incentivized campaign, you can get incredible results. Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If this model can work so well for labor rooms, where else in our public health system could we and where should we apply it next?